Okay, I have lost a couple pounds this week, and just as I have lost a couple pounds, a lot of people in these movies have lost a couple pounds in flesh. These are scary movies that I own on DVD, so I'll show you my collection. Okay, this week I'll be showing you my horror movie collection on DVD. Last week I spent way too much time editing my video, and I don't have time for stuff like this, so I'm just going to run through all of my DVDs this week, my horror movie collection. Okay, we'll start off here with Loch Ness Terror. Don't worry, I didn't spend a lot of money on this one. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't really know much about this one. Here's Hydra. I didn't spend $9.99 on that, don't worry. I think I got it when Blockbuster was closing down for a couple of bucks. I don't really know much about this. Blood Rain, there's another one. I think I've seen this, but I don't really remember much about it other than Uwe Boll directs it. Dawn of the Mummy. I remember this being more like a zombie movie than a mummy movie. George Romero's The Crazies. This is a pretty good one. Here's George Romero's Martin, about the vampire kid. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I guess you could consider that a horror or a scary movie. Stephen King's Children of the Corn. Circus of Fear with Christopher Lee there. I only bought it because it had Christopher Lee there in his Scaramanga get up. Of course he doesn't have a golden gun in this movie. It's just false advertisement. Here's the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, the unrated version. This movie's pretty disturbing. Here's my Friday the 13th movies. I'll put them out in order. There I have Friday the 13th Part 1 and 2 together on a double feature. Friday the 13th Part 3. I don't remember if this is the one where he's a copycat killer and it's not the real Jason. All these movies run together for me, so I don't remember one from another. Here's the final chapter, of course it is. Here's Part 5, The New Beginning. Here's Jason Lives, Part 6. Here's Part 7, A New Blood. The New Blood. Here's Jason Takes Manhattan, Friday the 13th Part 8. I had a good time watching all of these in orders. I didn't really watch them when I was a kid, but when I became an adult, I watched them all over the span of a couple of weeks, and they were pretty funny. Here's Jason Goes to Hell. And of course, Jason Goes to Space, Jason X. That one's pretty funny too. Okay, here's Flesh Eater. I like this one. It's heavily inspired by Night of the Living Dead. It even has this guy here that played the original zombie in Night of the Living Dead. It's a really low budget movie, but I enjoyed it. There's Zombie Night. This is really low budget. This is a more modern zombie movie, really low budget, but looks like they had fun making this one. Here's my zombie pack. It has Zombie 3, Zombie 4, and Zombie 5 Killing Birds. There are no zombies in this movie, only killing birds. So I don't know why it's part of the zombie series, but Zombie 3, I think it's called Zombie 2 in Italy, I'm not sure. It says it's directed by It says it's directed by Lucio Fulci, but I think it's Bruno Mattei. It's one of those hack movies. I enjoy Bruno Mattei movies, so no harm done. Zombie 4 is more of the same. It's good Italian zombie fun. Here's Raiders of the Living Dead. I haven't watched this one yet. I know it's pretty rare and it's pretty bad. I still haven't seen it. I'll get around to it one of these days. Zombie Doom. I just picked this one up because it was cheap at the bookstore. I haven't watched it yet. I don't really know much about it. Here's The Dead, or The Dead. The Dead, or The Dead. This is a pretty... I think it's a independent or a low budget film, but it has pretty good production values. It's a newer one. Dead Heat, this one's pretty good. I think it's set in Ireland. That one's pretty funny. House of the Dead 2, I actually enjoy this movie. House of the Dead 1's another Uwe Boll. I kind of get a kick out of it. Now we're stepping up a bit. Here's From Dusk Till Dawn, Robert Rodriguez. I like this movie a lot. The Satanic Rites of Dracula. I like all these Hammer horror, or these Hammer Dracula movies. This one is one of the ones set in the 70s. A lot of them are set back in the day, but this one is set in the 70s, which is fun. Here's The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. This is probably the best movie I have in here. Really scary movie from the 60s. Well... here are my Resident Evil movies. I have Resident Evil 1. I've always liked these Resident Evil movies. I know they're not like the game, but they're still a lot of fun. And there are a lot of references from the games in there. Apocalypse Part 2 I like. Afterlife. Oh no, I think it goes Extinction next. I think this is Part 3. This wasn't one of my favorites. Then Afterlife. This one's pretty funny. I know this had this scene with Wesker and Chris and Claire fighting, and it was straight out of Resident Evil 5. I like stuff like that. Here's I Am Legend, another actually decent movie. I like this movie a lot. I'm not crazy about the computer generated monsters, but other than that I liked it. Here's my 2-pack, Hill of the Living Dead and Rats. These are both Bruno Mattei, I think. So this movie is garbage, but I love it. So that's cheesy Italian zombie fun. It has it uses the same soundtrack as Dawn of the Dead. Maybe that's why I like it. It has that goblin music. I think they're called the Goblins that did the soundtrack. So yeah, and the Rats, I don't really remember much about that. I think it's something along the lines of Night of the Living Dead, where a group of people are stuck in a building and there are rats on the outside. Or killer rats. Nightmare City. I like this one a lot too. This one is good Italian zombie fun. This is where they started getting fast and smart. These zombies could communicate with each other, and they could run and shoot machine guns. This is a lot of fun. I think this probably inspired a lot of stuff like 28 Days Later. Zombieland. My wife and my brother and I saw this at the show. We enjoyed it. Dawn of the Dead remake. I like this one. Not as much as the original, but this is enjoyable. Uh-oh. Here's Return of the Living Dead. These are pretty funny. I think they're sort of spin-offs of Night of the Living Dead, but they're more comedy. These are where the Brain Eaters started. And here's the remake of Night of the Living Dead. I think it's Tom Savini directs this, the special effects guy. This is pretty good. Little different than the original, but still good. Zombie Diaries, this one's pretty good. I think there's a sequel of this one that's good too. I don't have it. 28 Days Later, The Fast, Scary Zombies. I like these movies. I have the second one too, but I let a friend borrow it. 28 Weeks Later. Shaun of the Dead, this is a funny zombie movie. This is the only zombie movie my wife will watch, besides the Resident Evil movies. Here's George A. Romero's latest zombie movie, Survival of the Dead. I actually like this one. Land of the Dead, everyone was looking forward to this one after, I think, 20 years since there'd been a Dead movie, since Day of the Dead. This one was pretty good. Here's my Dawn of the Dead collection. I have the extended version, the American edit, and the Dario Argento Italian edit. So those are all good. I couldn't tell you which version's my favorite. Here's Day of the Dead. This one has probably the best special effects. And here's the original Night of the Living Dead, which I think is public domain. So you're getting ripped off if you spend any money on this. I think I bought this for a couple dollars just to have it in my DVD collection. Okay. Here's a collection of horror films. I have a lot of these. This has, of course, Night of Living Dead, House on Haunted Hill, Carnival of Souls, blah, 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 blah. Last Man on Earth, the original film version of I Am Legend. Blood Tide with James Earl Jones. Yeah, I've seen all of those. Here's my Living Dead collection, 9 undead movies. I think of course, Night of the Living Dead's on all of these things. House by the Cemetery, that's another one. I Eat Your Skin. Last Man on Earth again. Oh, Messiah of Evil was pretty good, from 1974. And here's more of them, a lot of the same ones. House on Haunted Hill, yeah, a lot of Little Shop of Horrors on there. Another one, I don't know why I have all of these. I think I went through every single one of these and watched them at one point when I didn't have kids and I had a lot of free time. More zombie movie binge, 10 movies. These are more modern. These are pretty bad, but I had fun watching them. And Chilling Classics. There's another 50 on here. I think I watched all of this crap. Though the best one on here is Peter Jackson's Bad Taste. That was a lot of fun. It was an alien movie, a lot of action. I think it's it's an Australian or a New Zealand movie. So you can't believe all the stuff they can get away with, and they're like all the weapons, all the rounds they shoot off, all the machine guns and bazookas they can shoot off in these movies. The Legend of Boggy Creek. I haven't watched that one yet. Apparently it's based on a true story. A Wicker Man remake. I wasn't crazy about that, but I think I saw it at the show and I somewhat enjoyed it. The original Wicker Man, I like this one. Here's Waxwork 1 and Waxwork 2. These are pretty fun movies. Kind of with the same type of humor as Evil Dead and Army of Darkness. Here's Silent Hill, the movie. I know it doesn't have the same plot as the game and all that, but I enjoyed it for its imagery, and it's very surreal, just like the games. I think it had a lot in common with the game. Here's Nosferatu, the original Dracula film. This is from the early 1900s, I think. Oh, 1922. This is a silent movie. The Hitchhiker. Army of Darkness. This movie is really good. It's not so much a horror movie anymore. It's just like an epic comedy action. Evil Dead 2, that's probably the best one. Still kind of scary, but a lot of humor in there. I don't know what happened to my Evil Dead 1. I don't know where that is. This is one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. When I first saw this, I just laid on the floor looking at the ceiling for about an hour. This is a good movie. This is really disturbing. Really, to me, it feels very realistic, almost like a documentary. It's not really super graphic as far as as blood and guts. Just the whole premise of it is disgusting. But this is a good movie. Tobe Hooper, I think, is the director. Yeah, Tobe Hooper. And this has got to be my favorite horror movie besides Jaws. I'm not putting Jaws in this collection because I don't know. To me, those aren't really. Well, I guess they are horror, but to me, they're more than that. Anyway, Duel. This has got to be, other than Jaws, my favorite horror movie. It's Steven Spielberg, of course. I think it's one of his first films. You can see a lot in this inspired his work on Jaws. Just the whole menacing big truck kind of reminds me of the shark from Jaws. I don't know what it is. It's about a traveling salesman that's getting chased down on a California freeway by this big rig, this big Peterbilt like fuel rig. And that's back when there weren't a lot of people on the freeway, so there were just miles and miles with no one. And this guy's getting hunted down by this crazy trucker. Here's the Call of Cthulhu, the movie. I had to order this one. I couldn't find it anywhere. Because I read the book by H.P. Lovecraft and I liked it. And here's Black Demons. I think this is another Italian zombie monster movie. This was pretty enjoyable, pretty gory. I forgot I had some more over here. Here's Life Force. I don't know if you consider that horror or sci-fi. It was mostly horror, kind of like space vampires and space zombies. This is Tobe Hooper as well. The directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh. And here's and here's Demons. This movie's really fun. This is a really gory, fun, cheesy movie. And Demons 2, more of the same, but still fun. Here is Dagon. This movie is another H.P. Lovecraft movie. This one, I think the guy's name is Stuart Gordon, the director. I think he does a lot of those H.P. Lovecraft movie adaptations. But this is an adaptation of the short story by H.P. Lovecraft, Shadow over Innsmouth. But this is a different take on it. This movie has to be the inspiration for Resident Evil 4, the video game. I mean, there's a village in Spain on the ocean with these like feral people. They're like almost zombie-like feral people that It just reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 5. And here's the good one. This one I don't hear too many people talk about, Just Before Dawn. It's like in the same vein as Hills Have Eyes or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Some kids are up in the woods and they're stalked by these crazy mountain men. This movie has really creepy atmosphere. And the little ambient soundtrack. There's not really music in the movie, but there's like this ambient whistling music that's really eerie in the background. It makes the movie really eerie. And then here's my Hammer Horror Dracula collection here. There's 4 of them. I enjoy all of these. There's Horror of Dracula. That's based on the original Dracula. I know that's the original, but I never really cared for the original Dracula story. That's just me personally. I know I respect it and everything, but I more enjoy these silly sequels. And then he finally ends up in the 70s and Dracula AD 1972. This one's a lot of fun. Christopher Lee. And that's about it.